Hi Vanessa, my apologies for taking so long to send this. I did make you a video yesterday, but when I played it back, the background noise was so loud on the video you couldn't hear me properly, so I do apologize for taking so long to get this back to you, so I'm going to make a new one here. I think that what you're doing here is looking at ways to teach primary math to sort of younger students. That's my guess. Um, so in terms of that and in terms of how you would approach it with younger children who may not have sort of the math skills to find a common denominator and things like that, my suggestion is that you would want them to have some kind of manipulative or visual that they could look at to compare both fractions. So even doing, the same shape such as a rectangle, let's see. If I made two identical rectangles and I divided those up, the first one into 4 equal segments, then that diagram to show 3/4 would be 3 out of 4, right? So it would be that much. In the second diagram, if I'm going to divide that up into 7 equal segments, so we can talk about it in terms of sevenths, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, that's kind of approximate, but you'd have to have a way of measuring that, maybe a ruler or something to divide it up into 7 equal segments. The idea would be that if you were to shade in 6 of those 7 segments like this, then you can obviously see without much math background that this one takes up more of that rectangle than the top one, and so it's easy now to make the comparison between the two fractions. So that would be one way to do it. The rods that you have shown here, it says that the orange rod is 1, and so some of these rods would represent fractions of 1, obviously. I'm just not sure how many exactly each one is divided up into. I'm thinking that if it's possible to show that one of these rods would represent 6 out of 7 and one would represent 3/4, that you can judge by the heights of those rods which one is larger, which is sort of the similar idea to the rectangles above that we were just talking about. I'm just going to look at how many pieces we have here. So we have 1, looks like the green one should be complete. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 pieces. So we've got 10 here. So it looks like we've got like rods that are representing 1/10, 2/10, 3/10, and so on. In terms of quarters and sevenths, that would be quite a stretch for students at this level to be able to relate back to quarters and sevenths. It certainly would help if you've got something with a base 10 or a multiple of 10 in terms of comparing the heights of the rods to each other. Certainly, getting the idea that this represents 1/10 of the larger one, which is the 1 whole, and working through that idea with the students would be helpful in terms of the manipulatives and the visualization of what the fractions mean and how you're sort of partitioning 1 whole space, like our rectangles up here, into smaller pieces so that we can count those pieces and compare them to others. That's what I think they're getting at for you here, but just without more information in terms of the age group that you're working with or intending to work with these types of manipulatives, it's kind of really hard for me to zero in any more than that in terms of specific methods that you might want to use.